SHA is a scam. SHA is theft. You don't seem to understand this.
I hear where you're
SHA
coming.
is outright theft of Kenyans' contributions to this scheme.
So
You see,
with your
listen.
Hey there, and welcome to Fanya Mambo Africa here at the Alfa House. Super excited to have this one. He's the Member of Parliament for Kitutu Chache South.
Yes,
MP.
yes.
And of course, a young tuck in the ODM party, none other than Anthony Kibagendi. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Hey, Anthony, you've been busy.
I've been really engaged, but I'm happy to be back.
Welcome back.
Yes, I was among the first people to be interviewed here.
Yes.
Way back, I think in 2023. 23, yes.
Early 2023. Actually.
Yes. But I'm really, really happy with what you've been doing.
Thank you.
I watch literally every of your shows, and it is very inspiring.
Thank you very much. Totally appreciate. We'll start off straight up because we know you from Kisii County.
Yes.
And of course, Kisii has someone who wants to be president, or it's assumed wants to be president. Is it official that Fred Matiang'i wants to lead this country?
Thank you. First for inviting me, and secondly for the work you've been doing. And what I would say, of course, Matiang'i wants to run for president. He was called by particularly Gen Zs when they were in the streets. They called for Matiang'i to come and lead this country. And that message reverberated across the country. And probably that is why he thought it was important to resign from his World Bank duty to come and help transform this country. Of course, he's not your traditional politician who comes out with the razzmatazz and the lingua of aggressively attacking his opponents and stuff like that. But I can tell you, he is in this to win, and he is in this to transform this country. What do
you think what do you mean he was called by the Gen Z?
If you followed closely the what we had in 2023, 2024, when we had the Gen Z step out and demand better in terms of governance from this country, from those in power right now, the Gen Zs demonstrated that they would want someone that is transformative, someone that is focused on changing this country. And Matiang'i has demonstrated this in the past. I believe we were all alive when Matiang'i was made CS for communication. And that is when we had the migration from analog to digital. And he did a good job in ensuring that actually happened. And then again, he got an opportunity to serve as education CS. You know the kind of transformation he brought in the ministry, from the turnaround time of exams and the marking and when we get the results. And actually, in terms of the work ethic he brought into the Ministry of Education. Teachers, yes, are well-trained. Teachers know what they're supposed to do. But again, sometimes you find that there are people who are a little, I don't want to call it lazy, but complacent in the way they do their job. Matiang'i managed to bring life to the Ministry of Education. The other thing that Matiang'i did was the transformation he brought in the Ministry of Interior, and when he was managing the what I can call coordinating national government ministries. That is when myself and Honorable the current president, His Excellency William Ruto, had gone to Tanga. Yeah. And the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, then needed someone firm, someone grounded to help him manage government. And or we know what Matiang'i did then. And I think out of what he did, Kenyans have decided it is high time we get someone who is result-oriented, someone who has demonstrated that they can actually transform departments that they've managed in the past, and that is why they think he needs to come and help improve in the governance of our country.
Okay, that's a very interesting perspective, and I think most Kenyans have that, of course, what he did for those ministries. But also, politics is politics, and there has been word on the street that he's not fully committed to the united opposition, or is he?
Number one, we cannot live by someone's script. All these people that are running on in the opposition are all candidates or are all aspirants.
Yeah.
So when we have one who seems to be overreaching and he's the one who has a script on how everybody should operate, we all have different personalities. Yeah. You can be an aggressive person, and I can be a slightly more reserved person, but we all push the same agenda. If you look at the kind of politician, particularly the late former president Mwai Kibaki was, in comparison with the people he worked with then, including His Excellency, the late Raila Odinga, they both had different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Kibaki was more laid back, but he had work done. While Raila Odinga was more aggressive, he equally got what he wanted. So not everyone should be speaking in the way one of them thinks everyone else should. His commitment to the united opposition is more than 100%. And that happens because he is focused on ensuring William Ruto is not declared winner again in 2027. And that is the work of the entire united opposition. And even presently, as we speak, they are seated in a meeting, all of them. This is Eugene Wamalwa, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Rigathi Gachagua, and Matiang'i. Of course, there is Munya as well, and Natembea, who are not present in that meeting, but they are part of the united opposition.
So he's in the united
He's fully
opposition.
committed in the united opposition.
The other question would be, when Jubilee was doing its NDC, this is like 2-3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
Matiang'i was invited, and the expectation was that he was going to be announced as the flag bearer of the party. But then that didn't happen. What happened behind the scenes?
We are 2 years away from the elections.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between expectations and reality. Jubilee Party has its regulations, and they work with their constitution. You cannot call an NDC midstream and introduce an agenda in that NDC. You have to work on the agenda that was sent out way back in the past. So the agenda for the next NDC is on Jubilee nominating a presidential candidate or anybody who wishes to run for president. That is when they will be introduced. And it is at that point that they'll be made officials as deputy party leaders or party leader of the Jubilee Party. So that time will come. I know the expectation in the past, or when they had the NDC, was so obvious, but that would have led to a lot of lawsuits because that was not part of the agenda.
So what is Matiang'i's party?
He is a member of Jubilee Party.
Oh, he's still in Jubilee?
Yes, he is a member of Jubilee Party.
So he's in the united opposition as Jubilee?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. And I want to tell you, there is always a first time to everything.
You know why I'm saying it's interesting?
Yes.
The leader of Jubilee Party is none other than former President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
And we haven't heard from him talk about opposition or anything.
He has. Uhuru Kenyatta is not your typical politician again. Yeah, he has insinuated, even during that forum, he insinuated that we cannot continue working with an untried gambles like SHA, like those things. That is a demonstration that he isn't happy with the way the country is being governed. On issues to do with even education, he has spoken in the past. He has encouraged the Gen Zs to step up and confront the ills that are ailing our country. So he is of the idea that the governance we have presently is inappropriate.
So are we putting words in his mouth that
we are not?
The opposition talk. No. He has spoken that, but he hasn't said it as supporting the united opposition per se.
He hasn't said that.
Yeah.
But, there's a difference between William Ruto constantly saying, I've spoken to the former president, trying to endear himself to his supporters, versus when he has demonstrated that the leadership in this country is not the kind of leadership people deserve. Hasn't Uhuru said that? By saying, we are trying things that haven't worked.
Yeah.
We are messing up with things that have worked. What does that tell you?
You can interpret it as you will.
Secondly, if he wasn't of the idea that the opposition should field a candidate, he wouldn't be working closely with Matiang'i and bringing him to Jubilee.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes some sense. But politics, again, has a lot of reading that comes in. Now, you're speaking of united opposition, and yet you are an elected member of parliament under ODM.
Yes.
Where are you?
I'm in the minority, the people who are checking government.
As an ODM member?
As an ODM member of parliament.
But party-wise, where are you?
ODM.
Still in ODM?
Yes. If you want to join any other party, you have to resign and go get elected on another party.
So why haven't you resigned? If you don't believe in what is being done.
Why? I don't believe in what is being done. I'm a member of parliament as a minority. There is nobody in parliament who is government. I know you don't know that. There's only a majority side and a minority side.
Yeah.
And parliament is supposed to be independent. Their work is to check the executive.
Yes.
Yes, and make laws. That is the work of parliament. It is not psychophancy and worshipping Nebuchadnezzar. That is not the work of parliament.
So what is Parliament doing ideally when you look at it today? Because just the other day we had bills that were signed and the citizens are complaining, and now we have MPs joining the bandwagon, and we wonder, where were you when these laws were passed?
That is the unfortunate bit. And I genuinely detest the way citizens banned all of us and call us Parliament. If you remember clearly from 2023, when William Ruto began coming up with the reforms in the health sector called SHA. And SHA is not a reform. It is actually a scam. Yeah. I personally spoke against it consistently. There are various clauses that I was uncomfortable with, and I kept raising that. And consistently, I have done that up to even this coming week. We have a meeting with the CS, and there are areas I'm pushing and saying, hey, these and these and these cannot work. Yeah? Mm-hmm. But Parliament passed that law. Parliament is a vote. It is the majority. It is not the House. It is a majority on that day. And what has happened? Indeed, Parliament is such a monumental letdown to Kenyans. As a House, I feel embarrassed to be part of this 13th Parliament, because we try to genuinely push what I can call people-centered policies, people-centered laws. But there are people, particularly associated with the president, associated with the system, who are involved in just pushing for things that are for themselves. Mm-hmm. What I can call self-aggrandizement. It is about selling national corporations, that like Kenya Pipeline,
Yeah.
which is purely an extremely selfish move. It is about like the cyber crimes law. We ought to have debated it adequately. You don't sneak it in on days that, things have been happening in Parliament that are unfortunate, whereby some bills are sneaked into the order paper after people have seen the order paper. Parliament works in this way.
Just take us through the process. When does the order paper come out, and when do they sneak in?
Order paper comes in like days that we have morning sessions.
Yeah.
You'll get the order paper in the evening.
The day before.
The day before. And it will tell you the things we are going to talk about.
Yes.
And then what happens is not every member has to sit in Parliament every day throughout the sessions.
Yeah.
Why? Parliament, we are representatives of the people. Sometimes you're pushing issues to do with electricity, roads, you're following up matters of higher education loans for your some students from your constituency. We have all these things that we are. But in the order paper, sometimes, if you find that like there's a bill on coffee, you find that people from Northeastern may not be interested in that. They may not actually sit in that session. Yeah. When you talk about coffee, tea, people from Rift Valley, Mount Kenya, parts of Nyanza, Western will show up. Yeah. When you talk about sugar, yeah, you'll find that people from Nyanza and Western will have a lot of interest in that bill. When you talk about, let's say, the blue economy, people from Coast, people from Turkana, people from the Lakeside will have a lot of interest in that. So when certain things are in the order paper, people, there are regions or individuals that have a lot of interest.
Yeah.
Number two, sometimes things like, let's say, the finance bill, that is a national conversation. That is a national concern. Everybody gets involved. Yeah. Now, those when they present those in the order paper, you know where you have interest. You can step in, do your presentation, and step out, or sit in and listen. You don't actually have to comment.
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't have to sit in. Yeah. Now, what has been happening nowadays is while you have the order paper, the leader of majority and the speaker have reason sometimes to introduce like an agenda, an addendum to the order paper. Yeah, that can happen. But now you find that anything unpopular, they will wait for us a minute when they quickly mobilize their side silently, the side that will help them pass it, and then quickly pass it without even debate. The other thing is even the speaker.
So as MPs, and of course with the standing orders, what does it say about that?
Once the law, once it has passed by a certain quarter, it depends on the number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once there is quorum, you cannot reverse it. You can only push for amendments.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes we don't even debate, even when we are all of us in the house. Yeah. When the speaker says those of the similar opinion, he puts the question and they say aye, and they are loud enough. That's it. So it does not mean that all members supported that. You see, sometimes, of course, you will get to the point of voting, and like we have said.
But usually there is the second reading and the committee stage.
Yes.
All these things still as MPs, you didn't know.
Now, we know. We know. Now, when it comes to the point, while it passes through the various readings, people come up with various amendments. That is what is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, when they are malicious, they sneak in, do what they want. Sneak in, do what they want. Yeah? Okay. That is what has been happening in Parliament. And in certain points, you find that we all are present, yes. Yeah. But like I've told you, Parliament has become an appendage of the executive. So you find that the executive has, I heard them one time say, Parliament is corrupt. They take bribes. Yet, who presents the bribes?
There's the giver and
They
the
come
receiver.
from, yes, does it come from like manna from heaven? Yeah, they're the ones who bring bribes to parliament so that their laws, their amendments can pass.
How do we shift this? Because now we can't have a country surviving like
The first
that.
thing, we have to change the head. The biggest problem in this country is William Ruto. That is the problem this country has. William Ruto has, you change William Ruto na vifaranga wake. William Ruto has managed to take over parliament. And he's swearing that he will make sure, those of us who've not been supporting him, he will make sure we are not re-elected. So you wonder, what is he going to do? The only power he has now is the money that they've acquired irregularly. That is what they are going to use to fund people who will be running against us. But it doesn't matter. What I want to tell you is William Ruto has to go. William Ruto and his associates who are running this company, they are focused on just profiteering. They are not concerned about the welfare of Kenyans.
You know, when you speak about that, and about a week ago, we saw there was a feud between you and CS Duale in Parliament, when
Yes.
I think it was about SHA. Mm-hmm. And he claimed that you own hospitals. That's why you're against SHA. Do you own hospitals?
This is the best question, by the way, I've gotten this morning. Now, let me tell you. Duale and his associates have companies that are managing SHA. That is one. Number two,
you're sure?
100% sure. Yes, they have changed the CR12. He changed in December. It was initially his son. Now it is his nephew. Secondly, I'm telling you, Duale has hospitals. Everybody knows. Medina Hospital. He has a pharmaceutical company called Medina Pharmaceutical. Duale is conflicted. Why? Before SHA, the number of hospitals that were accredited in the entire northeastern, the upper north, were 153 facilities. Right now, they are close to 700 facilities. And what is happening? When we had the dashboard that was visible to the public on who gets paid on SHA, we realized that there are hospitals that are being paid that are non-existent, or there are hospitals that are being paid whose capacity does not demonstrate that they actually did work that they were being paid for. When you confront Duale on this, what he will throw at you immediately is to try and create propaganda that we have closed your hospitals. You realized, I asked Duale, which hospital? Can you name them? Can you provide even photos? Because if you take someone's hospital and bring it a photo, that will be illegal. Can you provide even the CR12? Yeah? Or even the proxies? Because people will know whose friend, they know my friend, because I can't take a stranger to be a proxy, you know? So it is irresponsible of the CS. He's involved in a lot of misappropriation. He's involved in a lot of what I can call incompetencies within that docket. He has messed up the docket. The health sector is on its knees. Lack of professionalism in the ministry, where he pushes for his friends and relatives to be in staff in SHA and the ministry. And that is what is ailing our country. And that is what I'm standing against. And that is why some of us will actually be killed, because we are stopping these people from continuing to steal from our people. And that is what the only defense he has is to say, I have closed your hospitals.
None of your hospitals was closed.
I don't own a hospital. I'm not a medic. I'm not involved. I'm not a shareholder.
Are you trying to say he just woke up and decided to attack you?
Yeah, they started that. This is not the first time. They started that some time back when I came up with I did a press conference myself, Honorable Sifuna, Honorable Undo, Babu Wino, Clive Gisairo, Barongo, Wamushomba. We came up with a press conference saying Duale should resign. So they quickly came up with their bloggers, including Itumbi. They came up with a story that the best way to deal with this guy is to say he owns a hospital. That is why he's complaining. Why don't they say which specific hospital Anthony Kibagendi owns? And you know, I'm an open book. I'm a public figure. even before I got elected, people know, if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to see the businesses I've run in the past. Everybody knows.
So if you have all this information that he has all these proxies, legally, what action have you taken, if any?
At the committee level, I've confronted him. He has refused to answer questions. But I thought, instead of even getting into details of all this, why don't we make sure this thing works for Kenyans? And those were the questions and recommendations the other day we were putting forward in the committee. And he didn't want. He does not like, and when we are in private, he would speak very calmly. But when there is media, he wants to lie to Kenyans so that the attention gets deflected. And that is a strategy of these Machiavellian taught politicians who want to continue stealing and taking advantage of Kenyans.
So you're going to have a meeting again next week? We
are having a meeting hopefully next week.
And if he shows up, what are you going to tell him?
We will still push.
Or are we going to see another few?
We are going to push for the recommendations. By the way, it is not the first time we have met Duale. That exchange is not what will be happening every time. That is not what will be happening. If he's going to listen to the recommendations we have and answer the questions we have raised from the field as committee members, then why do we have to have an altercation? Duale is a typical, what can I call it? Traditional politicians who don't want the public to know anything. That is why the easiest way to silence you, it is because I've closed your hospitals. Don't ask questions. That is the easiest thing for him to do.
Of course, as a committee, as a health committee, there's things you've collected or views.
Yes.
What is it you've collected about SHA? Is it working? Is it not?
SHA is not working.
What exactly
in very many
does
ways.
Not work?
SHA, number one, the system. I have a problem with the system. Number one, the cost of buying the system, 104 billion.
Yes.
That is outright theft. The procurement processes of the system, irregular, because it was skewed towards ensuring the Apiero and Convergence get the deal. Yeah? Mm-hmm. That number one is irregular. And even the Auditor General has said it so many times. That is one. Number two, other than the cost, the system is not working. Apiero and Convergence that provided this system that is riding on the Safaricom platform have never provided any kind of this system anywhere in the world.
So this was
not even a management system for a university or even a college or even a school. They've never constructed such a magnitude of a system. And some of the most sophisticated systems we have in this country include the ones used by the ministry, the military, like IFMIS, what Safaricom uses, what KRA uses. They don't cost that much.
We even 20 have
billion,
e-citizen.
30 billion, they don't go to that level. You see, now, that is one. Number two is what we call the benefits. Mm-hmm. Benefits. When you hear people talk about Linda Mama that used to be during Uhuru's time versus what is being offered now, they are inferior. In SHA, as a family, Sarah, your children, and your spouse, have been given 3,000 bob for diabetes as a family. So if
I don't think it caters, that is not even enough for one person.
Not even for one person. Not even consultation. You get?
Yeah.
Secondly, they have optical. It is another 3,000 for the family, not for an individual. Optical. The other thing is on let's say, maternity. If a mother goes to hospital for childbirth and it is a normal delivery, SHA will only pay 13,000 shillings. Anything above that, if you develop complications, if the child needs to use the nursery and all that, SHA will not pay. That is up and above what SHA provides. So you'll have to pay from the pocket. If it is a C-section, it is 33,000 from SHA. Anything above let's say you need a lot of blood transfusion and all this, you probably need to be put in you need oxygen for a minute for you to get back. You know, all that, you'll pay from your pocket. While in Linda Mama, you used to walk in, they take care of everything, walk out with your baby and go home. You understand?
Yeah.
The other thing is, in NHIF, we had something called Edu Afia.
Yes.
Edu Afia used to take care of secondary school students.
Yes.
So when a student gets ill in school, the school, through their matron or through the principal or through the senior teacher, will put that kid in the vehicle and take them to hospital. And the kid will be treated and taken back to school. And the card will suffice. Now, that kid cannot be supported from school. The parent has to be called to pay cash or pick that kid and take them to school, to hospital. And in hospital, you must have introduced him into your SHA. As in, there are a lot of other things. Number 3 is on what we call approval. You know, approval is when you step into hospital and you need to be attended to. You find that in SHA, for you to get an approval, it takes a lot of time. Number 1, the system most of the time is not working because it is online.
Yeah.
You make phone calls, nobody picks. Yeah. So the approval takes forever. Sometimes it's an emergency. If you as a hospital decides to go ahead and treat, that will not be paid.
Oh yeah, because it was not keyed in.
Because it was approval delayed. Okay. So you find some approvals delay for hours, for days. The other thing is you've approved. Sarah is unwell. She has, let's say, typhoid. Mm-hmm. And it has to be keyed in. You came in for treatment of typhoid. While you're in hospital, the nurses there do some mammogram and find that you have a lump in your breast. Mm-hmm. And they say, hey, there's something here, we need to now give it attention. Yeah? Mm-hmm. If in their narration, they change that to now they want to do, let's say, breast cancer screening or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah? That is fraud, according to Duale and SHA. Because sometimes you get into hospital and you find that you can have this ailment brings multiple. You, but you have multiple other issues.
Yeah.
You get. That is something else that does not work. Now, the other thing is a lot of what I can call returns. Mm-hmm. They refuse to pay because you changed the narration, because of this, and they quickly call it fraud. You get. So SHA has multiple problems. Now, other than that, we have recommendations on what can make it work.
Yeah.
Recommendations, 1, on improved, what we call, you improve on what SHA offers. Mm-hmm. Benefits of SHA. Number 2, they have now demanded that people pay yearly.
Yes, yes.
Initially, it was supposed to be monthly. Now, there are people in this country who can hardly afford a meal a day. You want them to pay for the year. Number 4 is what we call the means testing. As in, this is too complicated. We would need a whole day for you to understand. Means testing, that also messed up the higher education banding model, is whereby you as Sarah come into, you're told to apply for SHA. When you're applying as a member, it asks you some questions about where you live, what you do, stuff like that. Sometimes you answer genuinely and it puts you in a different band. Because when you say you have cows at home, it means
you're wealthy.
You are wealthy. Yet probably you have those horned cows that hardly give a pint of milk.
Yeah.
You see? So even the means testing process is very inappropriate for our country. Yeah? We will get there. But presently, there are things you cannot do. Like now for my mom. When my mom applies, it will put her in a band probably like any other village mom there.
Yeah.
Yet she has a son who is a member of parliament and a daughter who is a banker. You get? So it is not a proper way of banding people.
Okay.
So we need reforms on that so that, we all want to go digital. But whether we like it or not, we are not there yet. That is why in the past, for you to apply for Higher Education Loans Board, you have to go to your chief.
Yes.
The chief should be able to determine if you are here or here or here or down kabisa, so that the chief and your pastor are the custodians of that particular truth for government.
Yeah.
So that government will know whether it will give you 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000, or including what we call full scholarship of, let's say, 60,000. Yeah? Right now, you put, even in Higher Education Loans Board application, they will even ask you, are you using a water closet? Yani, the toilet, is it in the house or a pit latrine? If you say it's a pit latrine, according to that system, you are poor. You can have a pit latrine and you live in 5 acre.
Yeah.
While we own a water closet, yet we are living in a single room. Do you get the difference?
Yeah.
So government needs to change the way they do their means testing and a lot of other things within SHA.
So the committee has the goodwill for betterment.
We want to improve on it. We've been fighting it, and Kenyans are suffering.
Why do you think then the government is hell-bent or it is working?
The pushback is because they are going to lose what they're earning.
So it's a corruption.
SHA is a scam. SHA is theft. You don't seem to understand this.
I hear where you're coming.
SHA is outright theft of Kenyans' contributions to this scheme.
So
you see,
with your
listen, I want to show you something now. SHA, the CEO yesterday was in Parliament, being questioned why SHA paid 72 million shillings to a law firm to go and help them collect 13 million shillings.
Wait, they paid
77 for 13. They have not collected that money. Secondly, SHA had not made any effort ya kukuja kukuzungumzia we uko na 13 million yetu siulipe. Ama, what is your plan? Can you pay us even if 1 million per month or 500,000 per month paka umalize? You understand? They had not made that effort. But that is what I'm telling you. Hii ni wizi. SHA ni wizi.
But I'm looking, how do you pay 70 to collect 13? Logically, that doesn't even make sense.
That's what I want Kenyans to know. That SHA is an outright scam from the system. 104 billion Kenya shillings to benefits, to general management. And guess what? They sacked or declared a redundancy on 99% of people who are working in NHIF.
Yeah.
They have no institutional memory. Not everyone in NHIF was a thief.
Yes.
Very few people involved in claims management were irregular, were doing inappropriate stuff. But they declared everyone a thief.
So with your recommendations that you have as a committee, do you think then SHA will be functional?
The first thing is to ensure people get medical care.
Yes.
Accessible and affordable. The other thing I've not told you, SHA suggests if you live next to, let's say, Kenyatta Hospital, if you feel that you are sick, instead of getting into Kenyatta Hospital, you go to Dagoretti to look for a level 2 hospital for you to be referred from there. If they can, they treat you. And most of those hospitals don't have medication, they don't have equipment. They'll refer you to a level 3, level 4, all the way to Kenyatta. How does that work?
That's quite off.
It is really off. So there are a number of things. It is, SHA thinks all hospitals are in the same location. That is the understanding. Because you have to go to a level this, move to level this, move to level this. Yes, there is the referral system, even in the West. But you don't have to do a lot of travel. One hospital can do the job of every level of hospital.
Yeah, if they have the capability, why not?
You see, people in Mombasa, a majority prefer to go to Coast General.
Yes.
To do delivery. Yeah? Kuzaa. Yet, there are other hospitals in the hoods, in the estates, in the wards where they can actually go and get maternity services.
Yes.
While in Nairobi, the difference is most people know Kenyatta is overwhelmed. Why don't we go to Pumwani, Mbagathi, Mama Lucy? So there are all these differences that of culture that are happening, and health is indeed in a lot of trouble.
Are we getting out of that mess?
We may. If we get the right CS and we get the right attitude. And another thing, Ministry of Health has the CS, has 2 PSs, Muthoni and Oluga. It has someone very senior, a Director General called Amoth.
Yes.
These are the people, these are the technical people who should be answering questions. These are the people who should be informing the public. Why does Duale have to be the one doing all the talking everywhere? Dismissing questions when the media asks him any questions. He's all over the place. He's overreaching. He's doing everything. Soon he'll be carrying needles and syringes.
That feels like you're going too personal.
No.
Anyway.
It is not personal. We just need... That is why he was chased by the military. That is why the military said, we cannot work with this guy. We have our disciplines, we have our regulations, and we follow the law. He doesn't.
Okay. All right. We hope actually the health sector gets sorted, because it would be it's actually unfortunate what the health sector is going through.
This country is ailing because of 3 things. 1, a messed up health sector. 2, a messed up education system. 3, a messed up economy. If those 3 can be fixed, everything else will fall in place.
That's true.
Yes.
Totally agree. Okay, now let's also get back to some politics. Raila Odinga passed on a few days ago, and of course, he was your party leader. What do you remember him for, and what lessons did you take from Raila that you say will carry you through, and even to seeing you being defiant as he was and courageous?
I'm not defiant. I'm just fearless.
In a good way. Yes.
I'm just... One thing Raila tattooed in my mind is that I have to stand with the people. That I have to be fearless. I have to be courageous, and I have to be sensible. The other thing I learned from Raila is that sometimes you have to step back for the good of the majority. But I want to give you a bit of history. I knew Raila way back, before most people we are in parliament, and even those who are mourning more than the bereaved knew him. Yeah? I knew Raila in the year 2004. I was a student in Maseno University. I was running for a student leadership position. And I looked for him. He invited me for a cup of coffee at Kisumu Hotel. Kisumu Hotel was being managed by Maseno University at that time. And I went there, met him and his aides, and I requested him for support, financial support. And he had 40,000 shillings in his pocket. He counted 5,000, put it in his other pocket, and gave me 35,000. And that is the first time in Maseno University that a student ran with colored posters.
Money.
Yeah. So Raila was a generous man. I had people call him out here, including the current president, when he was demeaning him, that he's stingy. Yeah. Which is not true. Raila was a very generous person. And there's another student I met who told me Raila paid his school fees one time in full. And there's a lady again I met after telling my story who told me one time she got a scholarship, and it was about the time was running out, and she was trying to fundraise and she couldn't get money. And then one time, I don't know how she stumbled into Raila and told him, hey, I'm supposed to go for this scholarship. I have all this put in place, but I don't have air ticket. Raila bought the air ticket, you see. And even the current CS for Interior is the other person that benefited from the generosity of Raila Odinga. So Raila also taught us generosity, yeah? The other thing Raila taught us is that you as a politician, you must learn to listen. That is why he used to listen to us, even presently. He used to call me Babuino, Sifuna, Kalebamisi. There's Gisairo. There's a lady called Irene Mayaka. He used to call us and ask us, what is the ground saying? What are the people saying? And then we debate. Because he used to tell us that he also advises the president on best practices, on what needs to be done to try and weave the country together. Yeah. Okay. So he was listening. He used to listen and he took advice very seriously. But again, we are shocked, some of us, his mentees, because really I used to see Raila as immortal. Yeah. Even when I differed with him, I used to feel like he will be there forever. He'll be seen as a rise in this political field. He'll be seen as fight for the people while he's seated there on the throne. So we pray that his soul rests in eternal peace. We appreciate the sacrifices he made for this country, and we appreciate that he left the spirit in some of us. We will not betray the spirit of Raila Odinga.
And that's very nicely put. But now my question is, we've already seen the infighting in ODM.
Yes.
Seems like there's young versus old members or people who believe.
There's nothing like young versus old.
What is going on?
What I can tell you, we have a challenge in this country. And what I call recycled wisdom.
Recycled wisdom.
Cannot shift culture.
Okay. What are you saying?
Do you understand? Recycled wisdom cannot shift culture. Mm-hmm. The world is changing. Everything is dynamic. We are moving, we are changing.
Yes.
Yeah? So, people who've been there in the past, yeah, we are not disrespecting them. But there's a way in which they used to do things that cannot work now. In the past, let me tell you, Sarah, we used to wait for news like 4-5 radio and TV stations. Yes. Now, we have Alfa House that we can use to disseminate information. You get?
Yes.
So, the people that are rigid, that don't want freshness in the party, are trying to push us to believe that Baba wanted Kenyans to continue being oppressed. That is what they are saying.
So their stand is oppression.
And we are saying that was not the stand of Baba. Baba's association with William Ruto was purely to stabilize the country. While William Ruto's association with Baba has, over time, changed or transformed into an endorsement for his re-election in 2027. And that is not what Baba envisioned. And he told us recently in our parliamentary group meeting that, hey, we are not in this for 2027 election. This one was purely to stabilize the country. We need to look at the issues we raised with.
The 10 points.
The 10 points. And a lot of other things, yeah? Issues to do with debt. We are continually sinking into debt every day. Now they have started the kind of borrowing externally. They are borrowing internally, making it very hard for Kenyans to access loans. They've gone ahead. They are borrowing from the future. There's something called securitization. I don't know whether you understand securitization.
You can tell us a bit about it for the
securitization is where
viewers.
You, like now, we have what we call the fuel levy. Fuel levy is about a certain amount of money deducted from every liter of fuel,
Yes.
that amount is supposed to be purely in the law for maintenance of roads in Kenya, not development. Did you get the difference?
Yes.
Maintenance is roads that are already existing. You do maintenance, even if they are dirt roads. You come, you do graveling, you do grading and stuff like that. And if it is for the tarmac roads, sometimes they have potholes, sometimes they need to be swept and stuff like that. That is what that money is meant for. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Now, the economists of this country, with their advisor, William Ruto, they are not the ones who advise him. He advises them. They've decided to borrow money and and assure the lender that we will pay you this money. From what? From this levy. Look, it's been consistent for over 10 years. So be sure we will be able to raise this money and pay it from this levy. So you're taking money for maintenance of roads and using it to pay loans, for paying pending bills for people who constructed roads.
And the roads will not be maintained in addition to
You understand?
Yeah.
That is where we are. Number two, who tells you this fuel levy will be the same forever? Remember, we are transitioning from fossil fuels to electrical cars, to hybrid cars. So a hybrid car will consume less fuel.
Of course.
An electrical car will not consume fuel at all. So in another 10 years, we'll have phased out most of these cars.
Yeah.
So the amount collected from fuel levy will come down. Did they consider that? No. Because they think quick. They want to eat now. They want to eat now.
But isn't there a committee in Parliament for energy?
I've told you we have a problem. In every docket, we have a problem. So don't
have
take
a lot
me
of
back
hope
into that. Just understand this. These people focus is to steal now. They don't think that a time will come when now there'll be no adequate fuel levy to maintain roads and to pay off this debt. And already the amounts that they borrowed, they are using them to pay construction works, not maintenance. That aside, there's this Talanta Stadium. Talanta Stadium, a magnificent piece of art, wonderful stadium. Do we need it?
We actually need stadium.
To do what?
Sports.
Don't we have stadium?
We just need.
They are not adequate.
Yes.
But I want to ask you, when you have a problem, you have a choice between eating and buying shoes. What will you do?
Food.
Good. Simple. We didn't need it now. We needed it later. But because that is where they can steal easily, a monumental investment where the commissions are so high in billions, we have to push for this to happen now. That is what this regime thinks. Now, they have taken what we call sports fund and securitized it. From an investor, they've told an investor, build for us this stadium, we will pay you with this money. Where does sports fund come from? Betting. Now, what does it mean? And you know, these investors, they are brought in and these people demand shareholding in their company. So they continue earning again. Yeah. They take a commission and they continue earning as shareholders. Now, what happens if, you know, in the UK, there's a time members of parliament decided to betting was messing up families, messing up people's livelihoods and all that.
So is it doing in Kenya?
Members of parliament in the UK started a campaign against betting. And betting went down. In Kenya, betting is messing up people. Just imagine when, let's say the next regime decides betting is messing up people. We must have a campaign to reduce on the amounts of money spent on betting. Yeah? And they start making people understand that betting is inappropriate. Even biblically, betting is not allowed. Yeah? Now, when that time comes,
okay,
What will happen?
Direction. Yes, continue.
Look here. When that time comes, when we need to continue paying the money we securitized and people have stopped betting, what will happen?
We look for money
Elsewhere.
somewhere.
So these are debts. They should not give it any other name. They're trying to call them other things, but these are debts. Yeah? Those are some of the issues that were in the 10-point agenda. Abduction. Do you know people are still being abducted? Now it is very silent, quiet. That is what they are doing. Police brutality and a lot of other things. There is again the NADCO report. So those are some of the things that we put down, that these things need to be done. And there was no condition that once they are done, we will support you.
Yeah.
And Baba was clear. He said, we are not in government. We have just donated professionals and experts to help stabilize this country. That's all. So I'm not a renegade. I'm just serving as a member of parliament. I'm just doing my job. So when you say I'm in ODM, why don't I resign? Because ODM is doing what? We are members of parliament, ODM members of parliament, just doing our job.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a campaign online against Secretary General Sifuna. Somehow we can see it online. There's
the online campaign is for, not against.
It's both.
Babu Wino and SecGen.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to correct you. It is a very small fraction of people that are pushing for either the removal of Babu Wino or Sifuna. It's a very small section. People want revolutionary leaders to be in charge. We want serious people like Otienda Molo to be in charge of this party. Like Honorable Nyikal to be in charge of this party. People who are sober. Even now, there is a CS called Oparanya. For me, I think he's more grounded. He should have resigned to come and manage this party. He's sober, he's grounded, he's organized, and he's not an extremist on both ends. You get? And Baba didn't die telling us to work for somebody and be sycophants and worship anybody like we saw during his burial. That was unfortunate. That was backward. ODM and Raila Odinga, particularly Raila Odinga, got us out of those shackles of worshipping President Moi.
Yes.
I'm shocked to see ODM officials beginning to worship the head of state. That was embarrassing. It is still embarrassing to the extent our acting chairman, Madam Wanga,
yes,
declaring that some people should not step in some places.
Yes.
Is this her country?
The question is that the stand of ODM?
It is not the stand of ODM. I'm in ODM. And I'm telling the acting chairman, that was irresponsible. While we equally speak against the utterances, unfortunate utterances of Governor Kahiga, we equally are not happy about the utterances of Governor Wanga. And she's over-posturing. She's overdoing. Who are you impressing, ma'am? Relax. Do your job as a governor. Relax. Whoever you think you're impressing, he probably has seen that you are willing, you're more than willing to join them, to work for them. They already know. So, calm down.
Is ODM going to survive or to?
Yes, ODM is going to survive.
2 or 3 or 4?
ODM is going to survive.
As one party?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes. I'm not a pessimist, so I don't want to go that direction. I believe, and ODM, we always had internal differences.
Yes.
And we come up with a solution.
So a solution shall come.
A solution will come.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
We actually want to see that.
Yeah.
Because also, what is your feeling about young people and the demonstrations they've been taking, not just here in Kenya? Kenya was, of course, 2024, 2025. But across Africa, we're seeing it in Morocco, we're seeing it in Madagascar. And now for leadership, we're seeing it in the young blood that is in parliament, sort of.
You know, when you get to power and you forget what you took you there, you're bound to face this kind of rebellion, like you're seeing across Africa. In Kenya, there's one thing I want to teach you today. Mm-hmm. The voter, or let me start this way, politicians overrate themselves. We, the politicians, including Ruto, including whoever, including Kalonzo, including Anthony Kibagendi. We think we are the people who form opinion, who tell people, let's go this way. The Kenyan voter or African reemergence, let me use the Kenyan voter. The Kenyan voter has evolved tremendously. They think ahead of the politician. Nowadays, the Kenyan voter, you'll meet 3 types of Kenyan voter. Number 1, there are those that can be influenced by your lies, a very small fraction. Mm-hmm. Your lies or tribe. And then number 2, there is a voter who knows this Kibagendi is cheating me. And this Kibagendi, I'll deal with him. But right now, I don't want to show him. Yeah. If he says, I say 1 term, I'll say 1 term. If he wants me to say 2 term, I'll say 2 term. But I'll deal with him in 2027. They are the majority. And then there's the third one who has decided, me, I don't want nonsense. This government said they'll do 1, 2, 3. They are not doing, they have to get out. Yeah. So we have those 3 types of voters. You get?
Yes.
The evolved one, the one that listens to you, if you want 2 term, he says 2 term. If you want 1 term, he says 1 term. That one is the majority because they've realized these politicians are not serious. They're selfish. Now they've decided to be selfish. And they will deal with us. They are the majority. The other thing I want to tell you, the voting blocks in Kenya have changed. Of course, Mount Kenya remains the single most biggest voting block. But there's a second voting block that has come up. Which one is that, if I may ask you?
The youth.
No. It is the salaried people, the Kenyan worker.
Oh, that's true.
You see, It has both the youth and the old, the middle-aged and the old. That is the second biggest voting block in the coming elections. The most dissatisfied with this government, the ones that have been overtaxed. Kenyans are severely overworked and grossly underpaid. Not that they don't have a proper salary. William Ruto has thought it is important for his friends to get businesses to construct houses and sell steel and sell cement. Yeah? So he thought, for my friends to get business, I will deduct money from each and every Kenyan's payslip so that my friends, a few, can get projects. For my friends to get money through SHA, I will deduct a certain amount from payslips of people who already have, majority, have medical cover from their employers. So the Kenyan worker is underpaid not because salaries are kidogo, no, because of taxation. Taxation that goes beyond that. Again, you heavily tax them on their consumables, on their fuel that they used to fuel their vehicles, transport to work. You get?
Yeah.
So that is the second biggest block, and they will deal with this regime properly.
Come 2027.
And they don't have a tribe. A few will go back to their tribal cocoons, but a majority will remain firm just to ensure, and they're not voting in, they're voting out.
Emotional.
Yes. Their work is to remove. And I want to again take you back. In 2002 elections, the Kenyans had decided they don't want Moi and any of his surrogates. Uhuru Kenyatta was one of his surrogates. They didn't want anything to do with that. So they decided we are not voting for Moi or Uhuru Kenyatta. They waited for this other side to put together their house together. And they came up with Kibaki. So focus in 2027, I want to tell you, is how the opposition organizes themselves. Whoever they bring is the one that will be president.
I like the confidence.
I'm 100%
Kibagendi,
sure.
that's very
Can I tell you why?
Why?
You know, you need to get me some energy drink here because this is heavy.
Yeah. That is where sponsorship comes in.
Now, do you know the pillars that put William Ruto in power? I know you've never not heard of this. People just analyze tribes. People analyze personalities. I want to analyze for you what put William Ruto in power. Number one was what I call the ethnic bases. The major ethnic bases, Rift Valley and Mount Kenya. Rift Valley has close to 30% of people who are originally from Mount Kenya. They are Gikuyu. So he leveraged on the ethnic bases that gave him an edge over his opponents. That is one. Does he have it? No. Because he doesn't have Mount Kenya, he doesn't have 40% of Rift Valley. Number two, he had the church.
Yes.
He walked around with an extremely heavy Bible and donated huge amounts.
When did you measure it?
And donated huge amounts of money to various churches. He went on to hoodwink the church, how he's God-fearing. A God-fearing man who comes into office and says you only have three options. You leave this country, you get to prison, or you go to heaven, meaning you get killed. And we've seen that. We've seen that. God-fearing people don't do that. You allow the law to take its course. You're not the law. You're not the owner of life. You get? So he went on, the church. Does he have the church? No, he doesn't. Number three, the hustlers. The people he told he would remove from the bottom and take them to the top. He told them he would put money in their pocket, pesa mfukoni. He told them SHA, NHIF will be reduced from 500 to 300. Do you know right now, the smallest amount anyone pays for SHA is 600 shillings. Those who are paying the least is 600. He said he would give new mothers diapers for the first 3 months. He would give them Cerelac for the first 3 months. He said he would make sure 30% of government is for women. Does he have the hustlers? He doesn't. That is pillar number 3. Pillar number 4 was what we call goodwill of the international community. That time, government then had demonstrated a bit of high-handedness. And he used to, William Ruto uses a certain tactic called scapegoating. He blames those people were supposed to do this, they haven't done. Those people have done this to us. Those people, the rich versus the poor, the dynasties versus the, that is what he usually does. But amefika mwisho. Amefika mwisho. So when the international community saw that he was being unfairly treated and they gravitated towards him, you remember the ambassador, American ambassador to Kenya, the way she was so associated, so close with the president, because they have a lot of sway in the way the rest will behave. And then there was the European Union caucus of ambassadors. They also, I used to work in that office, they had a soft spot for him. He doesn't have that because of human rights issues and mismanagement of the economy. Number 5 is a pillar called sympathy. Did you know sympathy can be a reason for someone to get elected?
Yeah.
Works he had that pillar
Kenya.
For it looked like William Ruto and Raila Odinga walikuwa na mgandamiza. Yeah? So there are people, a fraction of the population that say, no, huyu mtoto wa maskini huyu ndio sisi. One of my aunts was telling me, pana. Huyu mtoto wa maskini, huyu mnadhulumu, huyu ndio ndapigia kura. You get? Now, does he have that? No.
So the 5...
That is 5. Number 6, professionals. Now, professionals comes to, William Ruto, I was in his office. We came up with a certain strategy. You look for regional blocks and look for regional professionals and sit them down and ask them, what is the mainstay? What business, what economic activity suits this region? Let's say Nyanza. They come up with the sugar industry, various reforms that need to be done in the sugar industry, reforms in the blue economy, reforms in the cotton industry, reforms in rice, because that is what is big in, let's say, Luo Nyanza. And then in Kisii, we have tea, we have coffee, we have dairy, we have bananas, we have avocado. We have also sugarcane. And then you come to Mount Kenya, milk, coffee, tea, rice, and all that. So we had regional caucuses of professionals who are coming up with ideas on how to revive the various economies in the regions. These are the people he has attacked their pay slips, the professionals. And their ideas have never been employed. They have never been used. They came up with very good papers that ought to have been used to reform the sectors. Yeah. What has he done instead? He has the sugar sector, they import sugar every 2-3 months. They import rice. Yet, we have a lot of rice here. You get?
Yeah.
They imported cooking fat. You remember?
the scandal.
The scandal. So what am I saying? He has lost these 6 pillars. What does he have? 2 pillars. 1, a lot of money. Not from business, not from salary, but we know where it comes from. 2, state violence. But state violence can only work at a certain time. If we are not careful with state violence, it will turn, because people belong to communities. People belong to tribes. Let us call a spade a spade. You're a police officer, and you see people from your region being persecuted. Will you take that? You are an army general, and you see people from your region being unfairly treated. Will you take that? So state violence, he can utilize it now. But when the chips start falling, it will not work. Why? There's been unfair distribution of resources, unfair distribution of jobs. You remember one time, KRA employed 1,400 people. 700 people were from
Mount Kenya and Rift Valley.
What does that tell you? The rest of the country has some anger, pent-up anger. So it is not all good like he tries to paint out here. Get into an Uber or a boda or a supermarket attendant or a fuel pump attendant. Ask them anything about this government. I haven't met anyone speaking positively about this government.
I should introduce you to one.
Please do.
Yeah, I've hosted someone here who really was had explanations from government. I mean,
a regular person?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
What did he say or she?
I will give you a whole explainer, but we can't go on with that.
You can tell me even one thing, because education is messed up. The only good thing that has happened that this government needs to thank God for is rains. We've had long rains since 2021 to date, 2022 to date. That has made the cost of food be a little affordable. Controlled. Cost of food. And food here is just unga and mboga, because they are dependent on rain. Yeah. But cooking fat, up. Tea leaves, up. All these other products, Royco, up. It is an ingredient that is used in cooking. Yeah. So everything else has gone up. And they keep saying the cost of life has gone down. Let me ask you. Out-of-pocket expenditure has gone high for medical services. Out-of-pocket expenditure for education has gone high. So which is this life that has, the cost of living that has gone down? The cost of cement when William Ruto became president was 650 per bag. Standard bag, 50 kg.
Yeah.
Right now, it is 1,100. The cost of steel has gone up. The cost of shoes has gone up. The cost of garment, uniform ya kwenda shule, has gone up. So those are the basic things that people deal with every day.
Yeah.
So you cannot lie to us that the cost of living has gone down.
So you don't trust his words on that?
Can I trust William Ruto on anything? Can I trust William Ruto on anything?
You tell me, can you?
William Ruto said Kenya has exported 400,000 people to work in the West or even in Asia. 400,000 people, if you divide by constituencies, divide by 290, that's 1,380
Per
per
constituency.
constituency. Do you know what impact that will have?
That's
Do you know what impact that will have? If right now he employed teachers, they employ like 160 teachers in a constituency, and it is felt across the constituency. 160 teachers, and everybody gets to know, kwa kina Sarah kumeandikwa mtu, kwa kina Kibagendi kumeandikwa mtu, it is known. So where are these people? I told a friend of mine, a journalist, a freelance journalist, to do some investigation. He went round and realized it is a total lie. The number of people that have been exported to work in the West since 2022 is less than 80,000. And less than 80,000, majority wamejitafutia kazi. Government was not involved. And the majority are in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, in Lebanon. Lately, people are going to Poland, the UK, Canada, those ones. And how do you know? You just ask how many people applied for a work visa.
Yeah.
You get the numbers. The president says 500,000 people are employed working in his housing projects. You go to the housing project in my constituency, yeah, where he says Kisii has close to 10,000 people employed in the housing sector, in the housing projects. The housing are in 4 constituencies. For that one, I walked personally.
To the 4.
To the 4. They are in different constituencies. Kisii is a fairly small county. And I found in one site about 480 people, another site 500 and around 18 people, another site 281, another site. So they don't get to even 3,000. So
that comes to around 1,200.
It comes to about 2,000. Yeah? But what does he say out here? Over 10,000 young people in Kisii are working in construction sites. And over 500,000 people are working across the country. So that journalist got some resources from somewhere. He's going around the country and he'll be doing a feature.
We're waiting to see that. I can't wait. I really want to see because the numbers
Alfa,
will be good.
I want to challenge you. Sometimes don't just call us to studio. Sometimes also do a bit of research on certain things that the president talks about or that we talk about. Sometimes we may not be telling the truth.
We actually do that.
Yeah.
Just the other day, we did a story on the Mara migration and things going on. Mm-hmm. So you need to check on that. Mahesh, we have to end it at this, but I want you to come back because we also need to look at the African and geopolitical politics that are going on. And of course, we may not be able to mix that with today's episode. Mm-hmm. So just promise our viewers that you will be back. So I can always send you the reminder as you do your parting shots.
What I want to tell Kenyans right now, first, particularly the young people, go and register as a voter for the elections of 2027. Don't wait until the last minute. Number 2, even you who has voted before, talk to those who have not voted in the past. Tell them what good governance is and what we deserve as Kenyans. We collect a lot of taxes, but they end up in people's pockets. Number 3 is to encourage young people not to give up on our country. We have a good country that can actually get into the first world status if we get the right governance. And then finally ask young people not to get involved in drugs and substance abuse. Drugs are easy to get into and very hard to get out of. It is easier to get into drugs than to get out of drugs, drug use and substance abuse, that is. The other thing I would like to encourage our people in this country is to tell them that we have our destiny in our hands. We can change this country.
We can change.
We can change this country. And changing this country has to start with the top. You can't change hapa chini. You have to start with the person who inspires the rest. You cannot be at the top and you inspire people to not speak the truth. And you inspire people to literally take whatever they get out here and have a lot of money and use it to try to influence people. The other day, the speaker at the memorial of Raila Odinga, the bishop, he spoke something very profound. That Raila never used money to lure people to himself.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you today, power today is in the ability of those who are seeking power to communicate effectively and lure people to their side. And for that reason, I'm telling Kenyans to listen carefully and not be diverted into the shiny things that this regime has constructed to get commissions out of, like Talanta, like what, these are the shiny things, purely to divert your attention. Quality of life is not measured by those things. It is how affordable health is and how accessible it is. Quality of life is measured by the quality of our education. Quality of life is measured by the quality of security we have.
Yeah.
Quality of life is measured by the quality of food we eat and even the quantity. You get? So let us not be hoodwinked one more time. And I'm calling upon Kenyans. It is high time we change this regime from Kenya Kwanza to something new. And that's something new. If it doesn't work, we change again until we get the right people.
We should not
to
get
continue.
tired.
Yeah, we should never get tired to change.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mahesh. When you go back to Kitutu Church, say hi to the people down there. We love them.
Sana.
We appreciate them. And again, my reminder until we are done, go register as a voter. That's the only way you will have change. Even from where he's saying up here, you can't change up here without a voter's card. So go ensure you have registered as a voter and vote the right people. By now, we all understand what good governance, bad governance is. So, but we will keep reminding you because we have to do it until every one of us is on the same page. Thank you for watching this episode. We'll catch you on the next one.